Welcome back to Mike Adams 2.0 ESPN Radio Albuquerque 1017 The Team. Catch up with every episode in case you missed one on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Hit the social media, interact with the show at Mike Adams 2.0. I'm Micah Frankel. My website is cagedminds.com. You can find us on Instagram at cageminds_CSN as in Combat Sports News, like where you can find the Facebook page. I had an incredible opportunity to be a part of a virtual press conference for BKFC 56 tonight. Going to be the biggest bare knuckle card in the promotion's history, in the sports history. A massive main event with two superstars. You have Platinum Mike Perry, who has become the face of the promotion, taking on the Underground King, Eddie Alvarez, former Bellator world champion, had many memorable fights in the octagon, a little stop in one championship, and was quite possibly part of one of the greatest bare knuckle fights ever in his promotional and sport debut against Chad Mendes. I was there live for it at BKFC 41. So first up, let's hear from both of those gentlemen about tonight's main event, where the winner will walk away as the first, with the first King of Violence title belt. Hi, Mike. Wanted to ask you about the 10 pounds. We have Eddie coming up in weight. How do you feel that's going to affect his performance? You think that's going to slow him down or hamper him in any way?
Yeah, thinking about it now, I'm like, he just fought Chad at 165. How's he so big now? How's he so big now? Like, how much does he weigh? How much is he going to weigh? How much weight is he cutting tonight? That's the question. Is he 185 right now and he plans to cut 10 pounds because it'll be easy and fall right off of him? I'm cutting like 3 or 4 pounds tonight. And I feel like I'm gonna put on 20 pounds once I get to eat. Um, you know, uh, it's weird to me that he just fought because I could not make 65, dude. There's no way I can make 65. I couldn't make 70 again. 75 is like killing me right now. So, I just gotta let my performance speak.
We've seen you in there against MVP, against Rockhold, and now Alvarez. Three drastically different styles. Did the approach in training or the selection of bodies that you wanted to use in sparring, did that alter much for this fight for Eddie?
Oh man. I didn't really try to find a guy that might be like anything like Eddie Alvarez. I did try to spar some guys that were a little bit shorter, but then I probably got my best rounds. And when I say best rounds, I mean had my most trouble with Lyoto Machida. And Lyoto was sparring me southpaw. He's taller, totally different style. And he hit me hard a few times, and I ate that shit and kept coming after him. And I was trying to get him, and then I had another sparring session with him where I fixed all of that. I saw everything that maybe he wanted to do, and was able to get my boxing going on him. And in my opinion, that's a much bigger, tougher fighter than Eddie Alvarez. And it's not just because he's taller. It's like Lyoto fights really smart. He's 45 years old and he's sharp as a whip, and he looks great, and such a smart guy. So I just tried to have the hardest rounds that I could, train and train smart. I didn't just beat on my body. I prepared myself to be in peak physical condition and be ready for anything Eddie Alvarez has.
Do you have any kind of inclination for what the next step looks like? We've seen Dave Mandel try to call you out in person. Luis is there at the press conference. A lot of people have associated you as the face of the promotion. Are you already brainstorming on what the next chapter looks like after you're the official King of Violence champion?
A little bit, you know. I feel like where I want to direct my attention is towards a name is, you know, a high level boxer. Um, and someone like, these guys, they want to think that they're above this, but then when someone calls and offers them a paycheck, that they're like, wow, that's actually on the table. That's a possibility. Oh, but it's bare knuckle. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't think I can do that. Like, you know, but then again, that's what's great about the Alvarez fight is because he has experience in bare knuckle. He had a bare knuckle fight against a little scrapper, Chad. So, but he's a littler guy. So, you know, whatever, I hate to do that. I hate to say whoever they want to put in front of me, but like I'm gonna be the king, bro. Like I'm the king, bro. So like who that's the thing about the king, baby, is they ain't gonna want this smoke. There's a couple guys who have the dream to be king because they've been doing this bare knuckle game, but like they haven't gotten anywhere with it. And what none of these guys seem to understand is that I went somewhere that they did not. And the other guy too. I knocked him out twice, bro. He's got to eat that for the rest of the time. So, like, if it comes to my desk, please believe I have money to get here. I will sign. Like Eddie said, actually, I thought Eddie's response to Palomino was very smart. The company offers it, this and that. It's like, yeah, we're not calling you guys out. What do we get from it? I want to call somebody out that I might get something from it. But then after this, it's like there's no one. Every time I fight in bare knuckle, I'm like, who the hell am I gonna fight next? And bare knuckle figures it out, dude. They come up with one. You're like, whoa.
Hi, Eddie. Wanted to ask you, we know that you've had a lot of underground bare knuckle experience in the past. Did you feel there was adjustments to be made after the Mendez fight having returned to the sport?
Yeah, I think just placements of shots, bare knuckle, it's not about like throwing really hard shots. It's more about placement like golf. Just having good technique, placing your shots well, and then having them land and then throwing in combinations. So I think them two things are really important in bare knuckle. It's not like boxing. You don't have the gloves on, so you have to take a little bit off your shots and focus more on placement. So that's probably the biggest thing I took away from my first fight.
And from this fight, Mike's a character. We see he's trying to promote the fight as hard as he can and even actively trying to play mind games with you during the press conference. How much are you enjoying his character during this process?
It's needed, man. That's the other side of the rainbow, right? We're polar opposites. I've been in this game a while. He's part of this new generation of Instagram, YouTube, whatever you call it. He's a fighter's fighter, but he's good at that stuff. I don't do that stuff. I do all my talking in the cage, and I don't do much outside of it. So we're a little bit opposite, but I need Mike. I need him to talk a bunch.
And specifically looking at the fight, taking on the bigger man who's had some great knockouts in this sport. How do you approach this one and how different is it from that first fight? You mentioned wanting to select your shots, but I'm guessing the size and the power changes some of your philosophy heading into this one.
Yeah, size and power. He's a little bit bigger of a man, but you have to be able to move. You have to be able to angle. Boxing's a sweet science. So it's not about if it was always about size and power, then the biggest, strongest guys, would rule. But boxing isn't about that. It's about angles. It's about combinations. It's a lot of other things besides size and power. That's one of the least things that you need is size and power in boxing.
The originally scheduled co-main event for BKFC 56 will not be able to take place, unfortunately, due to illness. Ben Rothwell has had to pull out from fighting Todd Duffy, and the promotion is hoping that they can rebook this fight for February. Instead, the new co-main event is a rematch from BKFC 41. I was up there live. You're going to get to see the rematch between Christine Ferea and Bec Rawlings as the Misfit defends the BKFC Women's Flyweight title. The first fight, Rawlings got out to an early lead. Ferea was able to mount a massive comeback, causing a cut that forced a doctor stoppage and led to us saying, "and still," but it left a lot of questions to be answered. We got some questions from those ladies, and let's see how they feel about tonight's rematch. Hey, Tamp, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. We head into this rematch. Bec had a lot of success in the inaugural meeting early on in that fight. Did you feel that there were many adjustments to be made during camp or in preparation itself for this rematch?
I made some adjustments, and my mind is wide open to however she's going to come and whatever she's going to bring. The first fight, I kind of just expected an aggressive Bec, but she was a little bit more tentative and counter fighter that fight. So I prepared from every angle. I had several different coaches analyzing the fight, my Muay Thai, my boxing, and another. He's more of a fighter coach, you would say. Just help me form a game plan that's going to be flawless.
You feel there's a real necessity to put like an exclamation point or a period at the end of this story where there's some question with the fight ending by cut the first time to really solidify that you're the better fighter here?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I took the rematch. I took the rematch because I am the best and I have a lot of confidence in myself. I believe I would have won that fight, regardless of where she thinks it was going. She had not felt my power yet. And once they feel my power, even if maybe you're landing a little bit more on me, maybe you look a little better than me, it doesn't matter. When I land a shot on you, you're not going to be able to think straight. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
And the last thing for me is going to be why and how do you see this being a different fight?
Because it's going to be a different fight because the ref is not going to stop it, and the true outcome is going to come. I already know what I was going to do to her. I already know what happens. I know, and I am very confident in my power and in the destruction I can do.
Thank you, champ. Hi, Bec.
Hi.
As we look at this rematch, you were having success early on in the fight. It stopped by a cut. Did you feel there were many adjustments that needed to be made? And are you expecting many adjustments out of Christine this time around?
I don't feel like I needed to make many adjustments. I've just went back to Australia and worked on my fundamentals like I always do, and just trying to sharpen up my just the fundamentals in my game. I feel like that's kind of key to boxing and bare knuckle boxing, is not getting too crazy with it and just try and sharpen everything up. So not too many adjustments. I'm not sure about Christine. I feel like if she was smart and her team was smart, they should have made some adjustments because I was getting the better of her in round 2, and I was just starting to get in my groove before the doctor stopped it. So I'm expecting to see a different Christine out there on Saturday night, and I've prepared for all different looks. I'm not banking on her being her usual self. So yeah, I'm ready for any Christine that comes at me.
I'm sure getting cut was unexpected, but was there anything else in the way that the fight was going that you found was unexpected?
I think getting cut is to be expected in bare knuckle. It getting stopped because of the cut was definitely unexpected, especially because my corner had stopped it from bleeding, which is what the doctor asked to happen. And they did their job. My cut man did his job and stopped it from bleeding, and they still stopped the fight, which is a bit disappointing. But other than that, I was a little bit surprised with I thought she would hit harder, to be honest. I thought she would have a little bit more pack in a punch, but it might be just a testament to my jaw and my ability to take shots. But in saying that, she didn't really hit me with any clean shots either. It was more glancing. So, but other than that, she was kind of everything I was expecting. And yeah, nothing too crazy. I expected her to come out and swing from get-go, and that's exactly what she did.
And the last thing for me is Christine even mentioned it. She expected you to come forward, and you were talking about fighting off the back foot, being able to fight from angles. So where do you feel like your game has most developed since the first matchup?
I don't even know where she got that from, because a lot of my fights, I definitely work off with the jab and I set things up. If she's not intelligent enough to see that I'm setting things up and not just bum rushing and pushing forward, then that's on her. I've always had an aggressive style, but I feel like it's a calculated aggression. It's not just me swinging like I'm in a bar, like a bar brawl. So, look, if she can't see boxing skill and technique is what I was doing, I feel sorry for her, because she's just going to see more of it. She's just going to keep walking into my traps on Saturday night, and I don't think it's going to go as well for her this time round.
Thank you. Welcome back, ESPN Radio, Albuquerque 1017, The Team, Mike Adams 2.0, Micah Frankel still here taking you through our massive BKFC 56 preview tonight, live on pay-per-view, Fight TV, the biggest bare knuckle card in the promotion's history. Each time out, Dave Feldman and the guys, they keep setting the bar higher and higher. You just heard from both sides of tonight's main event who will come out as the king of violence. You just heard from both sides of the co-main event who will walk away as the BKFC women's flyweight champion. Don't forget, this card also includes the incredible grudge match for the BKFC featherweight title as Kai Stewart, who I interviewed. You can check that out on the YouTube at Cage Minds MMA show, or over on Instagram at CageMinds_CSN. He is defending against Howard Davis. You also have the vacant heavyweight title fight as Arnold Adams, the former champion, looks to get the belt back when he battles Mick Terrell. They are fighting for a second time. You also have this incredible feature fight with Jimmie Rivera welcoming fellow UFC vet, the Little Heathen, Jeremy Stephens, to the squared circle, and we hear from both of those gentlemen right now. Hi, Jimmy. Stepping in now. You have more experience in bare knuckle as you're about to take on Jeremy. How do you prepare for a fight, though, against probably the hardest puncher you fought in the sport?
I watched his footage. I saw what he could do. Watched especially his last 2 boxing matches. Wasn't super impressed on his performance, especially his last one. He looked kind of good with Aldo, but with Chris Avila, he just had nothing to answer. Really, just he was hoping for that one punch knockout. And I know they were wearing bigger gloves. It's going to be a little different with the bare knuckle. But then again, it was a 6 3-minute round fight. This is 5-2. This is a little different. The pace is a little faster, and rounds go a little quicker than what people are used to. I think at the end of the day, though, with my experience being there already 2 fights in the bare knuckle and having experience in it, that I'm going to prevail for sure. And I'm going to take it to him. He lacks, some boxing fundamentals that I could definitely take advantage of.
Is it your experience that you have more fights under your belt in bare knuckle that you think gives you the advantage, or what is it specifically?
I think it's the bare knuckle on top of my boxing experience. Like, I never went professional boxer or did any boxing fights like Jeremy did, but I trained with the best, literally week on in, week out. Like, for every fight that I had, whether it was MMA fight or especially now with the bare knuckle, there was always pro guys. I've trained with guys that are 3-time world champs. I trained with guys that had unbelievable professional, careers as boxers. My last sparring partner is Paulie Woodlock. He's like 33-3-1. He was 30 knockouts. He's an unbelievable boxer. So I just have a lot more experience than what I've seen Jeremy do in his boxing fights that he had. So I think that's going to prevail, and I feel very confident with that.
The title fight is on the same card as you. First off, could we get some thoughts from you about what we're going to see out of Howard and Kai?
Honestly, I think it's going to be, it's going to be a war. It's definitely entertaining. I'm looking forward to watching after I'm done beating up Jeremy. And with that said, I like Howard. Howard's a cool dude. I've already fought him. Unfortunately, it was a draw. So I would love Howard to win and we could run him back and fight for the belt.
I was going to say, being on the same card with your name recognition, do you see this as an opportunity right there to make your call and have a moment and possibly put yourself in line for the title?
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge moment. I get to get on a huge card. I get to fight, someone's well known. The last two guys I fought, nothing against Howard. He's just getting to be well known, and the last guy I can't even tell you his name, to be honest with you. But he's same. He's like climbing the ranks. So I fought two guys that were kind of piggybacking off of what I've done in my career. So it's great to fight someone that has the same credentials that I do, that been fighting for as long as I've been and has done well in MMA and it's done okay in boxing, you know what I mean? But I'm looking forward to that. And with that said, looking forward to putting on a show for the fans. They don't come and buy the pay-per-view or buy the ticket for nothing. So I'm going to outclass them. That's how I'm going to do it.
We know, Jeremy, you've been active recently in boxing. How much different did the preparation look for this BKFC debut?
I kind of fell into the boxing, probably almost like a year ago. I've been in the process of becoming the best boxer that I can. I've been sparring really good boxers up in the level. I've been falling in love with that process of boxing. There's a lot more learning that I'm having to learn, than what I have in MMA. I've pretty much learned what I could. Obviously, there's a few things out there you can always learn and keep a growing mind. But boxing has just been really fun to me because of the learning process, the sparring better boxers, and seeing myself get a little bit tighter, a little bit sharper, hearing really good feedback, getting over into the boxing area. I'm loving it, and I think if you really watch bare knuckle, obviously I have the street style, the killer, the savage mindset, all that, but this bare knuckle is based off of really good boxing, setting up, utilizing your skills, being patiently aggressive, being first, being sharp, being fast, and being last. And I'm all that times 10. So here we go.
You kind of feel like it's going to be those new skills are going to be more applicable and more responsible for the victory than leaning on some of the older stuff that you've learned from MMA?
Yeah, like I said, I'm here right now. Over this past year, I've been in the process of becoming the best boxer that I can, and it's just leading right into something that involves boxing and stand up. And I've been training this style for quite some time, and falling in love with this process and really enjoying the moment. And Saturday, get to let it rip, and you guys be the judge of that. Holler at me after and let me know how I did.
What were some of your takeaways and impressions from looking at what Jimmie Rivera has done so far stepping into the squared circle?
I don't worry about what my opponent does. He better be worried about me.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Welcome back, Mike Adams 2.0, ESPN Radio, Albuquerque 1017, The Team. That's it. That finishes up our BKFC 56 huge preview. You've heard from both sides of the main event, the rematch title fight, and the co-main event, the massive feature fight also on the card that you watch on Fight TV, your traditional pay-per-view, also works. Earlier on in the show, you heard from the Mean Machine, Steve Garcia. UFC Fight Night Austin is available on ESPN Plus. You traditional boxing fans, Ryan Garcia returns to DAZN tonight. Mike Adams 2.0 on Instagram is the social media. Never miss an episode. Listen anytime by going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Look up Mike Adams 2.0. CagedMinds.com is my website. On Instagram, it's CagedMinds_CSN, at Caged Minds MMA on Twitter and TikTok. Caged Minds Combat Sports News over on Facebook. Caged Minds MMA Show is the YouTube. We got a couple podcasts on the website. Appreciate you guys if you gave those a listen. And next week, if you want to be a bare knuckle fighter. You have your opportunity. Tryouts next Saturday. Details on the website. We'll see you there.